Hey guys, welcome back. I have a couple of announcements here before we begin. First off, just a reminder for Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday for the next 2 weeks, right? We have office hours. This is true of all of your teachers, okay? So if you need help in a specific class, first and fifth hour, it's 8 o'clock to 9:30. Second and sixth hour, it's 9:45 to 11:15, which none of you have me those hours. That's my prep. Third hour and seventh hour is 11:30 to 1 o'clock, and fourth and eighth is 1:15 to 2:45. So if you need help with any of your teachers, and it's on your 1, 2, 3, or 4 day, or your 5, 6, 7, 8 day, check in with that teacher during these hours, and we will assist you. All right. If you need help, let me know. I will jump on Google Meet with you during this time. Okay. Secondly, the office hours on Wednesdays are different, right? They start at 8 o'clock and end at noon. All right. So the office hours are a little bit different. They go in half-hour segments starting at 8 o'clock. All right. That's different on Wednesdays. Third, the deadline for all makeup and retakes. All right. And I sent a bunch of emails out to either you or your parents, right? If you were missing things, but go ahead and check on Google Classroom and Harmony, right? If you're worried about your grade, check out Google Classroom or Harmony, see if you're missing something, because the deadline to turn it in is 12/16. That's a week from this Wednesday, all right? So we got about 10 days or so here, all right? So make sure that you get all makeup and retakes, right? If you want to do a retake, it's got to be done by 12/16 as well. Now, last Thursday and Friday, we had an assignment, and I think that assignment was on page 287. Okay, so I have posted the answers to 287 on this post. All right, so check your problems from last week, and there should be a new assignment posted today that is asking for one of those problems. So make sure that you add the assignment for today and check your answers. And if you have any of those answers wrong and you want to see how they're worked, see me during office hours, right? Let me know. And I'll jump on Google Meet and I'll show you how to do the problems that you missed. Okay. All right. So we're going to start. And if you want to join me in your ebook, it is on page 292. That's where I am. I'm going to go ahead and get started with example 1 on 292. Now, last week, all right, our last video, we worked on adding and subtracting fractions that had like or common denominators, right? This time today, you're going to take a look. Problem 1, right? So problem 1, example 1, sorry, is 1/2 plus 1/4. All right, and these obviously don't have common denominators. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to make common denominators, right? And I'm just going to make up a different problem over here. Let's say I have 3/5 minus 1/2. All right, so you can see both of these problems, neither of the denominators, the bottom number, are the same. This one has a denominator of 2. This one has a denominator of 4. Over here, we have a denominator of 5 and a denominator of 2. All right, so let's start with problem 1. When we add or subtract fractions, we must have common denominators. If we don't, that's a problem. All right, so our job is to make them have common denominators. So this 2 can go into 4, right? We can turn the 2 into a 4 by multiplying by 2, right? 2 times 2 would give us 4. But if we do something to the bottom number, right? If we do something to the denominator, we have got to do it to the top as well, to the numerator. So 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 2 is obviously 4, right? And then I can just bring this fraction down here, the 1/4, and now we have common denominators, right? Now we have common denominators, 2/4 plus 1/4. And when the denominators are the same, we can just kind of forget about them and add the numerator. So 2 plus 1 is 3, and the denominator will stay as 4. So our answer is 3/4. 1/2 plus 1/4 is 3/4. over 4. Now look at problem X, right? These two are also different, but we can't just times 2 by a whole number, that is. We can't times 2 to get 5. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to times both denominators. So what is the least common multiple, the smallest number that both 5 and 2 can go into? Well, it's 10, right? If we said 2 times 5, that would give us 10. And if we said 5 times 2, that would also give us 10. Now, likewise, how we did problem 1, if we do something to the bottom of a fraction, we have to do it to the top. All right? And if we times this by 2, we need to times this by 2. All right? So 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 5 is 10. All right? We have a minus sign still, right? It's a minus. 1 times 5 is 5, and 2 times 5 is 10. And once again, we have common denominators, right? We have the same number on the bottom. So now we can just do what the top tells us to. 6 minus 5. 6 minus 5 is obviously 1. And our denominator will stay as a 10. So 3/5 minus 1/2 is 1 over 10. Okay, that's how we add and subtract when we don't have common denominators. Okay, so let's go to 293. Again, you can be on your ebook or just following along here, but this is on 293, and this is example 3. All right, so this is example 2, right? It's example 2. So this is a little different because now we have 3 fractions, right? We have 3 fractions. And so we need to add and remember that the negative is really going with the 3. I think the book writes the negative out front, right? But we know that we can just move that negative up with the 3 up to the numerator. Okay, so we can write that as negative 3 over 4. All right, so our first job, our first thing that we need to do is look and see if any of these fractions have common denominators. Well, these two do, right? We have a negative 3/4. I'm going to write that over here, right? Negative 3/4 and 7/4. Okay. All right. So there's a couple of ways that we can do this. We have a negative 3 plus 7. So remember, these denominators are the same. So we can just do what the top tells us to do. Okay. We have negative 3 plus 7. The first way is we can use our number line, right? If I have, let's see here. Let's call this 0, and that's negative 3 over here. So we have negative 3 plus 7. Plus 7 means move to the right? This is the addition side. So we could add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That looks like it is positive 4. So negative 3 plus 7 is 4. The other way that we could do that is, because this is addition, negative 7 plus 3, we can rewrite this and say 7 plus a negative 3. This is the same as negative 3 plus 7. I've just flipped the numbers. And we should remember from chapter 3, when we add a negative, that is the same as subtracting a positive. So I could just write this as 7 minus 3, which we also know is 4. So our answer, when we add this and this, should be 4 over 4, right? 4 over 4, which we know, right? We know 4 over 4 can be reduced. We can call this 1 over 1. So if we've added negative 3 over 4 plus 7 over 4, that is equal to 1. We still have to add our 5/9, right? We still have to add our 5/9. So we have 1 over 1 plus 5 over 9. All right, so now we need to multiply one of our denominators to get it to equal the other, right? If we times 1 by 9, that will give us 9. So if we times the bottom by 9, we need to times the top by 9. 9 times 1 is 9. And 9 times 1 is obviously 9. So 1 over 1 is the same as 9 over 9 plus 5 over 9. So we have common denominators, so we can just add our 9 plus 5. 9 plus 5 is 14, right? And we can leave our answer as 14 over 9. I'm okay with that. Now, if you want to change it to a mixed number, well, how many times does 9 go into 14? Well, the answer is 1, right? And what's the remainder? What's 14 minus 9? It's 5. So we could write our answer as 1 and 5/9, or you could leave it as 14 over 9. Either one will work for me, right? Either one is fine. That's problem 2. Example 2 on page 293. All right, so now let's go and look at example 3. All right, this is example 3, and it is still on 293. So example 3, we got a couple of differences here. Hopefully you can spot them. I have so here we're subtracting, and we have a negative sign. And I just want to remind you, when you see a negative fraction, we can erase the negative and put it up with the numerator, with the top number. We can make this -2 over 3. Okay, so we need to make common denominators, right? We don't have them. A 3 and a 2 on the bottom are different. So we need to make them the same. So what's the least common multiple? What's the smallest number that 3 and 2 both go into? Well, the answer is 6, right? If we times 2 by 3 and we times 3 by 2, right? If we times them by each other, it will give us the least common multiple. So 2 times 3 is 6, and if we times the bottom by 3, we have to times the top by 3. And if we times this bottom by 2, we need to times the top by 2. So I have 2 times a -2, which is -4, over 2 times 3 is 6, minus sign, right? This is a minus sign there. 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, so we have common denominators again, right? 6 is on the bottom, right? So let's look at what the top says. It says -4 minus 3. It says -4 minus 3. So I'm going to use a number line here, right? If this is 0, let's find -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's -4. What does minus mean? It means move to the left. And we're going to move 3 spots. So 1, 2, 3. That's -5. -6. It looks like -4 minus 3 is it's -7. So -7 goes over, oops, dropped my marker. It goes over 6, right? And you can leave your answer as this improper fraction, which is -7 over 6. If you want to rewrite this as a mixed number, 6 goes into 7 one time, and it's negative. And what's the remainder? What's 7 minus 6? 1. So you could rewrite this as -1 and 1/6 if you like, but I would just suggest that you leave it as an improper fraction, -7 over 6. Okay, let's go try a couple more here. Let's go to page 294. All right, so I'm 294. I'm dropping my marker every second over here. Let's try that again. Okay, so 294. This is problem 7. This is a word problem. Okay, so if you want to just kind of skip through the video, that's fine. But I'm going to go ahead and write this up on the board. Okay, so this says Cassie cuts 5/16 of an inch off the top of a photo and 3/8 of an inch off the bottom. How much shorter is the photo? Okay, so this one's kind of tricky because we're cutting and it says the word off, right? So it kind of seems like it might be subtraction, but it's really not, right? It's asking how much shorter it is. So we need to know what 5/16 and 3/8 is added together, right? This is an adding problem, right? Because that's what they're cutting off. So how much shorter is it? So really, we need to take 5/16 and we need to add it to the other part that they're cutting out, which is 3/8, right? 3/8. We have 5/16 plus 3/8. So now we need to see if we have common denominators. Well, the answer is no, right? These are obviously different. 16 and 8 are not the same number. So what's the least common multiple between 16 and 8? What's the smallest number that both of them go into? Well, it's just 16, right? We don't need to times the 16 by anything. We could, right? If we wanted to, we could times them by each other, but we could just make it easy on ourselves and times the 8 by 2, right? 8 times 2 is 16. And if we times the bottom by 2, we need to times the top by 2. So I have my 5/16, right, which is over here. 3 times 2 is 6. And 8 times 2 is obviously 16. So 5/16 plus 6/16. If we have common denominators, let's do what the top tells us. 5 plus 6 is 11/16. So how much shorter is it? Well, it's 11/16 inches shorter, right? She's taken off 11/16 of an inch. That's how much shorter this problem is, or this photo is, than when she started. Okay, let's go over, please, to 295. We're going to try one more here. And this is, I believe this is another word problem. Let's look. Yes, it is. All right. So once again, if you want to skip forward a couple of, excuse me, a couple of seconds, that's fine. But I'm going to write this problem up here for us. This is problem 10, by the way. All right, so I kind of ran out of room here, so I kind of wrote this last sentence a little wonky here. It says, Mrs. Escalante was riding a bike on a path. After riding 2/3 of a mile, she discovered she still needed to travel 3/4 of a mile to reach the end. How long is the path? Okay, so let's decide if we're going to add or subtract here, right? It says She's already ridden 2/3 of a mile, and she still needs to go 3/4 of a mile. So that sounds like addition, right? We're going to add these parts of the trail, right? So I have 2/3 and I have 3/4. So I'm going to say 2/3 plus 3/4. Let's see if we have common denominators here. Well, the answer is no, right? These obviously have different numbers on the bottom. 3 and 4 are not the same. So what's the LCM? What's the least common multiple, the smallest number that both 3 and 4 go into? Well, it looks like it's 12, right? If we times them by each other, that gives us the least common multiple. 4 times 3 is 12, and 3 times 4 is 12. And if we times the bottom by 3, we need to times the top by 3. And if we times this bottom by 4, we need to times this one by 4. So 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times 3 is 12. So when I do this multiplication, I'm left with 8 over 12. I have an addition sign here. Oops, that was kind of... 3 times 3 gives me 9, and 4 times 3 gives me 12. So this multiplication gave me 9/12. Now we have common denominators, and we can just add what the top is. 8 plus 9 is 17, and 17 over 12 is our answer. You can leave it as an improper fraction. If you would like to change it into a mixed number, how many times does 12 go into 17? Well, the answer is 1, right? And what's the remainder? How many times, how many numbers are left? 17 minus 12 is 5. So you could write your answer as 1 and 5/12, or you can leave it as 17 over 12, right? Either one works, right? Either one works. All right. Okay. So we're going to do something a little different this time, all right? We're going to do something a little different. So I'm going to give you problems to practice. Now, reminder, these are just practice, right? And I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not going to grade these, right? I just want you to practice, and I'll explain why in a second. Okay, first off, I'm going to put the list up here of the problems I want, and I'm also going to give the answers, all right? Right now, I'm going to put the problems up on the board. I'm going to list the answers to them so you can check your work as you go. Because on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, which I believe is, let me check that date. Let's see. This Wednesday looks like it's December 9th. All right, you're going to have a quiz on adding and subtracting fractions. All right, so I'm going to have you practice some. I'm going to give you the answers. And if you miss any, if you have questions, see me during those office hours, which are at the beginning of this video, and we will work through those together. I want you to have a chance to check these problems before the quiz on Wednesday. All right, so this is page, let me see. This is page 295. All right, I want to do number 3, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 9, and number 11. And reminder, I am going to put those answers up just so you can see what they are. And if you have problems, please, please, please see me during office hours so we can work them out. All right, so number 3 is, that looks like 7 over 5, or you can write it as 1 2/5, right? Either answer works for number 3. Number 5 is 4 over 9, right? Number 5 is 4 over 9. Number 6, I'm going to write that over here, is 7 over 60, right? Number 6 is 7 over 60. Number 7 is a negative, right? It's a negative. It should be negative 26 over 45. All right? Number 9, let's see. Looks like it's 29 over 18. Or if you write it as a mixed number, it would be 1 and 11/18. All right, either or. And number 11 is a word problem. Right, let's see. Number 11 is a word problem. Oh, and our answer, it took me a minute, sorry, is 1/4 of an hour, it looks like. 1/4 of an hour. So, check your answers here. If you missed any of them, visit me on our office hours, and I will walk you through how to solve them, because this Wednesday we're going to take a quiz, a short quiz, on adding and subtracting fractions that have both common denominators and uncommon denominators. All right, so make sure that you get these ones checked out, please. All right, drop my marker again. Take care.